Okay, so now we're going to talk about startup messaging. This is actually something a lot of people might consider too advanced for an early stage startup, but I couldn't disagree more. For my startup, Ditto, it was absolutely critical to get messaging right. You have to get messaging right. It's not only important for fundraising, but it's super important for your customers and the rest of your team to understand what problem you're solving and how you're going to solve it. If nobody understands what your startup is about and how you're going to solve customer problems, you're going to not only confuse everyone, but also waste everyone's time. I'm going to show you our mistake when it came to messaging when we first started Ditto. Our description that we put into all of our email campaigns and sales decks was Ditto is a peer-to-peer distributed database that allows iOS, Android, web, and IoT applications to sync data with Bluetooth Low Energy, local area network, peer-to-peer Wi-Fi technologies by leveraging a mesh network and a database written using Delta State conflict-free replicated data types, otherwise known as CRDTs. This was completely cringy just to read this out loud, and I'm very surprised I even used this sending it out, but you gotta learn. So I'm gonna teach you why this never worked and how no customer ever bought our software because of lines like this, and how it scared so many prospective customers away from our product. Remember how I told you that enterprise buyers are just normal people like you and I? Yeah, none of this technological mumbo jumbo means anything to anyone. So the first thing you need to do is go back to the whiteboard and ask yourself, what problem is your product actually solving? So for Ditto, what we really do is we give you a software developer kit, you put us inside of your application, and they'll get data from point A to point B even without an internet connection. So we came up with a tagline that oriented ourselves around this. So I hope that by the time you've created your startup in the first place, you understood who has that specific problem and how your software is going to solve that problem. And that is your messaging. It is not your technology. It is the benefit. It is the value that you bring to the customer, and stick close to that. Do not be tempted to talk to people about details of your software. That is for later. So, sync without internet. That is our messaging over at Ditto. We never stray from it. This is why we never talk about the complex parts of our software until much later when we are in deeper technological or exploratory phases of our sales conversations. We stay very high level in order to get people to say, yes, that sounds like it's very interesting to me because I have this problem. And if I have that problem, I'm going to be much more open to seeing material about it in my emails, in my LinkedIn messages, in my outreach. So how do we take the lessons that we learned over at Ditto, where we had this insanely complex technical mumbo jumbo pitch, and transformed it to something easier to understand that brought us more sales and more traction? I have a very strong opinion that enterprise sales are only bought for these 4 reasons. 1, an enterprise will buy your software if they feel like it will help them make more money. 2, it will help them drive down costs. 3, it will give them more security. Or 4, it's more convenient. There's no exception to these rules. If your software can message itself appropriately to fit even a couple of these boxes, then you're even at a better chance of cutting through the noise and getting people to purchase your stuff. I find that a lot of my founder friends will push back at me about my strong opinion, saying that, well, there was that other startup that was bought, and I think they were very successful because it was using Node.js. But then if you prod down further, the enterprise that bought XYZ software because it was Node.js really bought it because they had a whole bunch of Node.js developers and they felt like they could deploy that software a lot faster without training everyone. So, aka a speed issue. Or 2, they also felt like they would understand Node.js security patterns a lot more for the security standpoint. Or 3, they don't really need to hire more people in order to understand that, also a cost one. So you can have a pitch that fits multiple of these boxes. But no, they did not purchase it because it was Node.js. That's just a detail. The reason that they paid for it and actually purchased that software was because it helped the company achieve something in those 4 categories: either make money, save money, security, or convenience.